Welcome to Oilersnation Everyday with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
As of 8:30 a.m. on May 14th, Kris Knoblauch is no longer the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Let's get into it with the lead.
What? I for one
I can't believe it.
did not see that coming. I am stunned, much like the rest of the hockey world. This is unbelievable. Who would have seen this coming? Literally everyone, by the way.
Yeah.
Literally everyone should have seen this coming.
I woke up this morning to 9 text messages from
Bragger.
friends of the show, other producers and other shows being like, oh my God, did you see it?
No,
And
it's
it's like-
5:30 in the morning.
Well, yeah, it's fucking 6:30. Like, no, I was sleeping. Not that soundly. Had a bad sleep last night. But what?
I couldn't. Yeah.
We spent the last 48 hours being like, Bruce Cassidy's the next head coach. Then they fire their coach, and the entire hockey world is like, what is going on in Edmonton? Do they even have a plan? It's like, well, yeah.
Gong show. Oh my God. Yeah, they fired their coach that they went 500 with and lost in 6 games to the Anaheim Ducks, who haven't been to the playoffs in close to 10 years. And guess what? Expectations were not met, and Kris Knoblauch was fired. Like, I don't know why this is like such a difficult concept to wrap everyone's head around. And people are going to throw out there as like, well, look at all the coaches in the NHL that have stuck around. Cooper, Bednar, Paul Maurice. I'm sure he's up there now after everyone else. Like, yeah, they all won. And Knoblauch, was one game away from winning. But he didn't. He didn't win. And that is literally the difference between him being a Stanley Cup winning head coach and being on the same pedigree as probably Bruce Cassidy and all those other coaches I named, and him not being. He didn't get the job done. But he also did a fantastic job here, and it should not be discredited either.
This does not make him a terrible coach.
No.
He is a good coach. He's just not Mr. Right now. Might have been Mr. Right for a while, but he's no longer Mr. Right now. Welcome into the show, everybody. We're live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out at sportscloset.ca or at one of their 3 locations in the Edmonton area. We're also brought to you by our friends at Bet365, home of the 3-goal early payout. If the team you're riding with goes up 3 goals at any point in the game, you get paid. It's that simple. Download the app. Find out more about the 3-goal early payout today. Must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. There's a lot of lazy narratives and rhetoric going around the hockey world right now. And I'm not going to call anybody out by name. Actually, I might. The Oilers never learned how to defend. What in the fuck did you watch the last 2 springs before this one?
I'm so lazy.
We can go through a lot of wins that the Edmonton Oilers had at key points in their Stanley Cup playoff runs where they defended very well.
When they literally wouldn't allow goals. They won a Game 5 on the road 1-0.
2024, Game 4, 1-0 win over the LA Kings. I would argue that constitutes either defending well or goaltending well. Let me take you through their wins in the Western Conference Final that year against Dallas. 3-2 in double overtime. That's almost 5 periods of hockey, only giving up 2 goals.
Yeah.
5-2 win, they allowed 2 goals. 3-1 win, they allowed 1 goal. And 2-1 win, they allowed 1 goal against the Dallas Stars. The Florida Panthers scored more than 4 goals once in the first Stanley Cup final. Every other game was 3 goals or fewer.
And what game? Was that Game 3?
It was Game 3, a 4-3 win in Edmonton. Every other game for Florida, their goal totals were 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, and 3. With an empty netter, I believe, in that one. So, and someone says their PK was unreal that year.
Agreed.
Yep, penalty killing would fall under the umbrella of defending well. 2025, the Edmonton Oilers, under Kris Knoblauch, did really well in that same regard. We can talk about the game against Vegas where they closed it out on this day last year. Wow. They closed out their series over Vegas with a 1-0 overtime win. That would be 4 periods of hockey where they, guess what, defended really well. Stunning. That round also featured other defensive gems, like a 3-0 win the previous game, a 4-2 win in game 1. They went on to the next round to play Dallas, where their wins were 3-0. How many goals does that mean for Dallas?
0.
6-1. How many goals does that mean for Dallas?
That is 1.
4-1. How many goals does that mean for Dallas?
That is also 1.
So 3, 6, 9.
2.
Yeah, well, 9 periods, 2 goals for the Dallas Stars. Yeah, okay.
That's good.
They could defend.
They could. They just didn't this season.
Yes.
And the Oilers, look, maybe they put too much pressure on themselves, and that's maybe a different conversation in terms of like the length of McDavid's tenure here, trying to win Stanley Cups, all that good stuff. And that's a fair argument to have, I would say.
Yeah.
But just put this past season in a vacuum, and it fell apart so quickly.
And the coach's fingerprints were, unfortunately, all over that.
Yes, and some people, I know Apple iPhone has been big on this for a couple of weeks now. Like, you guys don't like Bowman, some people. And that's fine. Like, maybe the roster wasn't up to par for your standards. But there were still a lot of good players on this team. And it just felt like some guys were never given a role. And, like, some guys regressed so much. And it was unfortunate the way it ended. I think it was, like we mentioned it yesterday, I don't think Kris Knoblauch deserved to go out quite like this. But obviously the news broke. It got leaked that the Oilers wanted to talk to Bruce Cassidy. And all of a sudden, I don't think the Oilers' hand was forced in this situation in the sense of like they heard the news and were like, shit, we got to fire Knoblauch. I think they were going to fire him anyway. And by listening to Bowman, it's kind of seemed like that's what they were going to do. And Bob kept mentioning as well on his show, I was like, a lot of guys kind of went out of town for Mother's Day weekend. And now they come back and here we are. What day is it today? Thursday? Get back in town after probably a week or so away, and then you find Knoblauch. Do you kind of see it that way too, or do you see it a little bit differently?
I don't think at the beginning of this week they had any idea that they were going to fire Kris Knoblauch.
No?
I'm standing by my theory that they were thinking it's Bruce or Kris. And then I think all of this happened, and they went, oh, fuck.
Interesting.
That's my take on what I've heard.
I think that they wanted to have the evaluation like they spoke about, and then I don't know. I never really saw a path for Knoblauch coming back, but I understand what you're saying. I think Knoblauch is probably the second best candidate, maybe third, depending on how you view someone like Peter Laviolette, for example. So, what's so funny?
Oh, it's unrelated.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day.
It is what it is. Like, I feel like, again, there's probably how many people are watching the show right now. Are our numbers good today? They're okay. 748 is pretty good by most people's standards. Maybe by ours a little low. But
for us,
we have a very
748 for us.
Yeah, we have a pretty high standard here on Oilersnation Everyday for our YouTube numbers. We spent the last 48 hours talking about this. Like, if my point was going to be, if a bunch of people piled into this YouTube chat to be like, what's Tyler and Liam's spicy take on Kris Knoblauch getting fired? Watch one of the last 2 shows.
Yeah, you guys can go back. Can you guys stop saying Bowman is doing great? Do you realize he traded me for a bad goalie just so I could succeed elsewhere? Like, hello? That's from Brett Kulak. The Brett Kulak thing... God, that couldn't have happened at worse timing yesterday. The Oilers organization could have. Brett Kulak was awesome here. But God damn it. Let's not forget how he played to start this season. And maybe they should have trusted him to turn it around. Yeah. That's a fair argument too. But my goodness, he sucked this year and looked like it was like, holy moly, is Brett Kulak like not an NHL player anymore? The trade, sure, like everyone can argue, like, it was a bad trade. Obviously, that's how it's turned out. But at the moment, I was like, well, Brett Kulak didn't look very good, so it's not a bad thing that they let him go. Now it looks bad, of course, but like in the moment, it wasn't
with
that
how
bad.
Poor he was playing. I think the thought process was he should have been a positive asset.
Agreed.
And they treated him like a cap dump, which didn't make a ton of sense.
And that's fair, but in the moment.
Yeah. All right. You can leave a like or just leave. Nothing to see here from Final Buzzer. I mean, yeah, we're going to keep talking about it, and Zach Laing's going to join us in a little bit. But yeah, it's the end of the Kris Knoblauch era. Officially this morning, Ryan Rishaug reported it at 6:30. The team put out the press release at 8:30. Unsurprising, Mark Stuart's out the door as well.
Thank God.
that's obviously a big part of the news. I actually wanted to read that in, by the way. The news is a presentation of the River Cree Resort and Casino. What's happening in Edmonton is happening at the River Cree Resort and Casino, your home for great performance. Ziggy Marley's coming to the venue on July 5th. Get ready to experience the legendary Ziggy Marley live as he brings his Brightside Tour to the venue on July 5th. Tickets, rivercreeresort.com or at the River Cree box office, River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. You can bet on it. Paul McFarland not included in the release. Who's the skills guy? Connor Allen?
Yeah, and the goalie coach still
Peter
around
Aubrey.
too.
So a few guys linger. Were you surprised it wasn't wholesale firing squad? Down you go.
Yes and no, I suppose. Maybe it is good to have some familiarity for the next guy that comes in. Bowman did address it and said that their fates will be decided by the next head coach, essentially, is what he said. So I think that's the right way to do it. Look, the power play again. We said it last 3 shows, maybe more. One of us in this room, anyone in this chat could coach that power play. Get out there. Go on, kids. Go ahead. Go play. And will the next coach appreciate that? Probably. I mean, it was the number 1 power play in the league. Maybe, I don't know if it finished that way, but until Draisaitl was out, it was unbelievable.
Yep.
So that's fair. The skills guy, I mean, did anyone pod calls in, I suppose, guys like that? I don't really know what he touched, essentially.
Well, that's Ned Lukasevich territory right there.
But my apologies,
Hire
Sean
him.
and Ned. The goalie coach, whatever. Get that Sean Burke guy.
Yeah.
God, he is figuring some shit out wherever he goes. Is that Brian's son?
No.
No, just
Unrelated.
just buddies. What do you think that's the right thing to do? By the way, I mean, those 2 guys, Stuart should have been out the door, arguably at the Olympic break.
Yeah.
My goodness, did that guy do a bad job here the last couple of years?
Yeah, that's sad.
Knoblauch, I mean, that's obviously where everyone's just going to be talking about him. They couldn't have even included Mark Stuart in that press release, and I would have just assumed he wasn't coming back next
I'm
season.
sure Mark Stuart, when he saw his phone ringing today, wasn't like, oh boy, I wonder what this is about.
Yeah. Also, too, one thing I think credit should be given. Mark Spector said yesterday that the Oilers will fire Kris Knoblauch by the end of the day. They did that. There's no way they called Kris Knoblauch at 5 o'clock this morning. Like, hey, Chris.
Wakey.
Good morning. It's Stan.
Hey, Chris, were you going to sleep in today?
Well,
yeah? Well, you can sleep in a lot.
This isn't a dream, Chris. You're fired.
We are moving on from you. Calls him. Hey, Chris, morning. Windy out, hey? We're making a change at that coaching position.
Yeah, rain will be good for the grass.
Yeah, the crops. We need the rain. I'm trying to muster up, and maybe it's because I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 other shows already today, so I've spewed it all again. But again, this just isn't surprising, guys, and it's the start of a summer of some pretty big changes for the Edmonton Oilers. And someone said, you let Bruce Cassidy come in and decide on his assistants, and
sure,
yeah, whoever comes in, the new coach, you let him chat with Paul McFarland and say, hey, if you like him, keep him. If you don't, we're already in the hole $7.75 million. We'll be in the hole another $400,000 or however much. However much
he gets paid.
He makes. But Mark Stuart, you could not run the risk of him schmoozing Bruce Cassidy. He had to go.
No, my goodness, whatever that guy must be a smooth talker.
Yeah,
just crazy. Did he survive the Woodcroft era too? He's been here for a while.
Yeah, he's been here for a little
few
bit.
years, I think.
But he took over, I thought, for Manson.
Did he? I wasn't sure if that was Paul Coffey.
22, 23. Yeah, he was technically on the Woody staff with Manson and Gulletson. So he survived. My favorite story that I heard, and I can repeat it because it was so many coaching changes ago, but I had always heard a funny story behind the scenes at OEG that when the Oilers fired, because Gulletson first got here, wasn't it still
Tippett?
Hitch or was it Tippett?
Actually, Elite Prospects had a great page on this before. I can grab up all of
Oh,
it.
yeah. So Gulletson got here under McClellan, and they fired McClellan.
Holy moly.
Yeah. That season. He was a part of that 18-19 season when, again, McClellan got fired halfway through the season or whatever.
And it's interesting that he was never given the interim head coach tag.
Because Hitch, baby. You got to bring in
Yeah,
Hitch.
yeah,
So the story I had heard to get to that was that when the Oilers, they fire McClellan, Gulletson survives, Hitchcock, he survives. They fire Tippett. and Gulletson basically walked in and was like, "Fire me." And they were like, "No." And he was like, "If you're firing it, like, I'm not doing another new coach," was like basically the sentiment he gave the organization. And the organization went, "Yeah, you can quit and like give up your salary."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'll stay." And then he ended up staying like another however many years, 2 more head coaches.
Might come back once he gets fired next
Yeah,
season.
he might.
Could be
I
back.
just think it's a very funny story. And again, it was so long ago. I had heard it from a couple people. But like the idea that he was like, "You gotta fire me, get me out of here." And they were like, "Give up your salary." And he was like, "God damn it, I'll stay."
Not a
And then he almost won a Stanley Cup here.
Twice. Yeah. I'm glad Mark Stewart's not Glenn Gulletson. I mean, I don't really know which other way to go with this. I think one thing that we should maybe say is, as much as it seems like Bruce Cassidy should be and probably is their number one option, they're definitely going to interview a ton of people for this job.
That was going to be my first question for our friends at Capital GMC Buick Edmonton. Capital GMC Buick is committed to the community, raising over $30,000 last year for the Stollery Children's Hospital, and they are Edmonton's #1 GMC dealer, the #1 GM dealer in the country by Dealer Rater, and they've held that title for 3 straight years. CapitalGMCBuick.ca. My question for you, first question, do you believe Stan Bowman when he says he will interview other candidates?
Yeah, I do. I think they have to. I just think it would make them look very silly in all of this if they didn't interview a ton of people. I mean, like, at the end of the day, you might think Bruce Cassidy is your best option, but what if he's not? Like, what if they go talk to him and it's just like not a good interview, and their plans don't align, and all of a sudden it's like, well, we only interviewed one guy. Like, it just seems a bit narrow-minded. Obviously, Bob had his tweet out there too, Bob Stoffer, saying how like they wanted to. I didn't want to get mixed up.
Do we have the Bob tweet? Okay.
Yeah. So there's a ton of guys, like, someone puts in there, and I don't think he will get interviewed, but like, where's Babcock these days?
No.
There's no way that guy's coming to the NHL. But like, other guys who have cup rings, which are labeled in there, obviously Craig Berube, I don't think he would be a fit here. Peter Laviolette won with Carolina in 06.
Yeah.
He was their coach, so it's been a while, but he went to a cup final with the Rangers.
He's been to 3.
Yeah, Rangers,
Predators,
Carolina.
Flyers, and Hurricanes.
Oh,
He's
is
a
he
guy
the
who's
Rangers coach?
he's notorious for like his first year is so damn good.
It's not a terrible option.
No stone left unturned would be
No, totally. And I mean,
mentality.
like, also at the end of the day, I know, and I don't think they would go this way. Barry Trotz, I don't see that one.
No.
Kevin, he's basically said he wants to hang out with his grandkids.
Yeah.
Look, they've gone to back-to-back first-time head coaches, and I don't think they will do it again. But maybe they talk to someone and he blows their socks off and they're like, this is the guy we want. And they should find out if that is going to happen. I think it would be very bad if they didn't do that. I really liked your Mark Letestu idea yesterday.
I'm in on that.
Yeah,
Mark.
Head coach, absolutely. Probably not. I shouldn't say absolutely not after what I just said. But as an assistant, I think that's a really nice fit.
Yeah.
If Paul McFarland stays or goes, who knows?
Apple iPhone. Has Tyler Liam talked about the Stanley Cup winning coaches? No coach other than Scotty Bowman in the past 60 years has won a cup with 2 different teams. Let me say something along those lines. You can't operate your team believing in curses. You can't believe in that shit.
Otherwise, we should just relocate.
Bruce
Kenner hasn't won since however long it's been.
Bruce Cassidy hasn't. Bruce Cassidy got the Boston Bruins to within 1 game of winning the Stanley Cup in 2017 or 2018 with the Boston Bruins. They lost to the Blues in Game 7. So you're telling me that if Bruce Cassidy would have won that cup with the Bruins, that magically when he got hired by Vegas, they wouldn't have won a cup? Like, that's just a thing. Like, I don't know.
It's a major coincidence.
And I think like Laviolette, you can point out how many different Stanley Cup finals he's been to. You just think he magically gets to all those cup finals after getting there with Carolina and was like, I just forget how to do all this now. And like he forgets to coach. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I'd be curious to know, and I'll have to go through and look myself. I'll try and do it now if I can.
Yeah.
How many guys were given a second opportunity to go and win a second Stanley Cup with a different team?
Berube had a crack now in Toronto.
Yeah,
Cooper hasn't. Bednar hasn't. Maurice now, I guess, like, hasn't.
We'd have to go through and look, of course. But I'd just be curious to know, Mike Sullivan, like, these guys who recently, again, a second opportunity to do it, only been in jobs for a year or 2. Like, I know it's just like a random fact, and it is, but hey, we got a Bowman. Maybe that breaks the curse. How many GMs have won multiple cups? I don't know. Like, who knows, right?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. I'll try and go through and find out.
I have Bob's tweet as well.
What do we got from Bob?
So this is Bob's tweet, and Stoff is usually on this kind of stuff. Pretty well plugged in. My belief is that the Edmonton Oilers will target an experienced head coach with gravitas, who has a history of having structure and process in his team's game. ... And has won before.
Who could that be?
So I was trying to actually read into this a little bit. Like, why did he capitalize experienced and gravitas?
Oh, do you think it's a code?
Is there a code to decipher here with Bob? What are the first letters of every second word? M-I-T-T, mit, M-I-T-T, mit. Gravitas, G, experienced, E, E-G, G-E. Gravitas, that sounds Mexican. Bruce Cassidy's very tan.
Big debate going on downstairs too, actually. By Menzies started this yesterday, believes Bruce Cassidy, handsome looking fella.
Yeah.
So then there was the debate, and it started out through the night. I texted Menzies a couple.
Me too.
You said Bono.
So wait, this is men in their 60s.
Attractive men.
6-year-old men that are not actors.
Or haven't acted.
Like played like a legitimate role in a movie of some kind.
Bono.
Obama was on the list.
Yeah, Bono's out though.
Yeah.
Because he was in Sing 2. So it can't be.
I was thinking about Bruce Springsteen, but I looked up his IMDb, and I don't think I don't know. That's why I got to research a little bit more if he's technically acted.
Let
us know in the chat, please.
Yeah, if you got any thoughts.
Maynard says Bob is not as deep as you guys give him credit for. Maynard, respectfully or disrespectfully, actually, you have no idea what you're talking about, boss.
Yeah.
Gravitas, a coach with gravitas.
I mean, at the end of the day, Bob Stauffer literally flies on the Oilers team jet.
And he's a team employee.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
He knows more than we do, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, absolutely. Except for that one, no. I don't even know what I'm making a joke about. Anyways, here's another question for you. Over under Tuesday, 10 a.m., Bruce Cassidy's announced as the new head coach of the Oilers.
Oh, way over.
You think they're going to take like a week to do this?
I think this might be a 2 or 3 week thing.
Really?
Definitely.
I disagree.
I think this will take a while.
So you're going over 7 days.
Yeah, I don't think this will be a quick process. I think at least 10 days at the very least. I would think if they want to do it right, and that's the important thing here, is doing it right.
I think the right thing to do is to hire Bruce Cassidy.
But they need to find out if that's right. And I mean, if they do everything in the next 7 days, great. But if they also just announce Bruce Cassidy tomorrow, whenever, weekend, whatever you want to say, I think that just says that they didn't do their full due diligence on the situation. And they just had their narrow mindset on him. Which, hey, he's the number one guy, it seems like, on the market. Well, like we just talked about, like, I think you got to find out if he is or isn't. And also, too, Vegas got to give him up. Vegas have to be go talk to him. You can talk to him now.
Kebra, is Stan staying? Yikes. Yeah.
Seems like it.
I'm not, but that's not surprising to me that Bowman's staying.
I have very mixed feelings on him. I don't really know I'll be honest, like fully how to gauge it. And maybe I just think maybe I'm just out to lunch as well, which is whatever. But like, Cassidy's not out there. He is not available to be spoken to right now.
No one's talking to him.
No one can talk to him. And that's why I think it'll take longer.
Also, if the reports are true, which like I believe what Friedman says, if Bruce Cassidy is telling people the Edmonton Oilers are my number one preference, even after the Leafs job opened up, the Edmonton Oilers are my number one preference, then I do think maybe to your point, you can be pretty confident in waiting. And I don't think he's just going to get scooped up, because one would imagine that if his agent is doing right by his client, which based on the leaks we've seen this week, I would think he is. If his agent's doing right by his client, there will be a conversation with Edmonton of like, hey, do what you need to do in the next week. Put out there that you're interviewing all these guys. You have till next Thursday, though, for Bruce. It's not going to be one of those where the Oilers wake up on Monday. It's like, Bruce Cassidy's the head coach of the Leafs? Shit, they just pulled the rug out on us.
Two months ago, we both were going for the same one.
Oh, because we were both pissed off.
2 months ago, Owen was sure Knoblauch was staying. That is not true.
2 months ago, we were sure he wasn't getting fired before the playoffs, like some of you were suggesting they should.
I think you go back and find clips of me being like, this guy sucks and he needs to go. Probably you as well.
One of our most viral clips from Oilers Nation Radio this season was me saying, if Kris Knoblauch wins fewer than 8 playoff games, he's fired. If he wins between 9 and 15 playoff games, he's safe or whatever. Like, yeah, I pretty much said point blank in March that if they win less than 8 playoff games, he gone. And guess what happened, final buzzer? He gone. They won less than 8 playoff games. They won 2.
Maybe.
So, like, don't even do that revisionist bullshit of we don't know what we're talking about.
Maybe someone else said it. I don't recall, but it wasn't us. I've kind of been on him for a while, and like that's why I'm just, again, like, not really shocked about today.
No.
And I think the Oilers situation is so different than basically everybody else in the league. They have 1 year left to figure it out before it might be too late to figure it out.
Which is why I can kind of understand why they didn't fire Stan Bowman.
I can too.
Don't think they want someone to come in and start from scratch.
Agreed. And whether you think that's right or wrong, I think it's just what they had to do.
Yeah.
But I think my biggest takeaway from these past few days is that behind the scenes, the Oilers need to get a bit organized here. From top all the way down to, well, basically Bowman, I guess. There's no one really.
If you want my honest truth on that, as much as I really don't want to start this narrative,
it's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen as long as.
Well, I know what you're going to say. You don't have to say it out loud. But there's some things that are going on here that it's just let guys do their jobs.
You can't have Paul Coffey having as much power and influence as he does.
No, it seems like you can.
Without any sort of official title. Like, if the word here and if what we hear is like Paul Coffey is the direct line to the owner. And if he says...
That is his job title, too. It's not speculation.
Well, yeah, like, if he's the direct line to the owner, and if Paul Coffey goes to DK and says, I don't like Kris Knoblauch, you got to fire him. And Bowman's sitting there saying, I want to bring back Kris Knoblauch with proper assistance. And the owner says, what Paul says goes. Fire him.
Then Paul should be the GM.
Well, right, then, like, fire... Why are you even hiring other people?
Yeah, I agree. It just is very dysfunctional. Also, I mean, there's lots of teams in the league who don't have McDavid and Draisaitl operate like this, and they don't do very well. And it completely falls apart. I think Vancouver's the easiest one to think about because of their owner is just very vocal. And they've been in disarray for a while, right? Like, they got good for that 1 year, and they had a really good team that season. They played the Oilers in the playoffs. And since then, it's been a disaster.
Final buzzer. I'm just saying you guys are guys with opinions just like the rest of us. No, one, that's not what you were just saying. You were saying 2 months ago we were telling everyone Kris Knoblauch is staying, which wasn't at all what we were saying 2 months ago. And 2, that's also incorrect. Your message is incorrect. You're telling me that whatever.
Come on, final buzzer.
Shape up today. You're having a bad commenting day. Figure it out. And I don't mind being the stern coach who's going to tell you that. That's what the Oilers need sometimes, is a kick in the ass.
PJS 2001. How do the Oilers not have a cup with 97?
I mean, now we're asking the important questions.
I will tell you this. It began on day 1, or day 0, depending on how you want to label it, of when they traded for Griffin Reinhart. Since then, things have kind of just gone to shit for the most part.
I mean, again, like some of the comments, I love you guys. You make this show fun to do. You're the reason we can have this be our job.
Oh my God, Trent.
Dickinson is a good player, but not a good fit for $6 million. $6 million?
Yeah, he won't get Charlie Coyle money at all.
No.
Trent, Bowman is riding coattails from his dad. Well, Stan Bowman won 3 Stanley Cups, so that's good. I mean...
Imagine if we had Barzell.
Yeah. Well, they would have picked Joel Eriksson-Ek, which actually probably would have been a better fit for what they need today.
Yeah. Tyler, who do you hate more, Bowman or Jackson?
Jackson.
I don't have hate in my heart.
I do. Jackson. I think Jackson is such a bad thing for this team.
Moglin Celebrini. It's idiot season, baby. Welcome back.
Let's go.
I mean, I'm trying to stop short of calling you guys idiots. Endearing, in brackets, endearing. But, yeah, like, again, whatever. Maybe we've just been, to quote Connor McDavid, beating our heads against a wall for too long with this stuff. But, like, is Stan Bowman a great GM? No. No one's sitting here being like, boy, that Stan Bowman's got it figured out in Edmonton. But I can also, like, criticize him and recognize he's not good while also being like, I don't think it's a realistic expectation that they're going to fire him. Should they? Yeah, probably. He's made a couple of really bad fuck-ups in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm not just gonna sit here and spend an hour every weekday going fire Bowman, fire. Like the show sucks if that's all I do. So like, we got to deal with reality at some point here. Stan Bowman's gonna be making the decisions this summer. That's happening. Is the organization dysfunctional? Probably.
Seems like it.
Are they gonna win a cup with Connor McDavid? Good Lord, I really bleeping hope so, man. Well, should we get to our guest line?
Yeah, sure.
Our guest today is Zach Laing from Oilers Nation. He's brought to you by your Prairie Toyota dealers, looking to dominate off the ice as much as your team does on it. Check out the Toyota Tacoma. Probably got to change that read. Its standard I-Force engine boasts an impressive towing capacity of up to 6,400 pounds. In fact, it's the most powerful Tacoma ever. When it's time to load up, the available power liftgate makes loading your gear in and out a cinch. Experience power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tag Days on from March through May, as we welcome in our good friend Zach Laing to the program.
Busy day.
What were you doing at 6:30 this morning when Kris Knoblauch got fired?
Sleeping.
Yeah, yep.
So is he.
Yeah. But I will say, for the last 5 days in a row, I've had a 7:30 a.m. alarm where I'll just roll over and look at my phone and be like, anything happening yet? Nope. Sleep for another 20 minutes. Wake up again. Check. Nope. Nothing. All right. Sounds good. Here we are.
Yep. Yeah. So this was expected. It's part of the reason why I've had a hard time drumming up hot takes on it, because everyone's heard what I've had to say over the last 48 hours. I guess because we haven't had you on the show yet this week. Where do you come out on the whole narrative? And obviously Gregor's piece at Oilers Nation was very well done. And I do think there are legitimate arguments to both sides of this question. Do the Oilers look unprofessional in the way this all came out?
I don't know. I mean, I think to a certain extent you could say so, right? Because I do understand what Gregor's getting at, in that, moves like this where you're talking to another coach before firing your current coach are usually things that happen in the regular season. This doesn't really follow the guise of the offseason protocol for letting a coach go and all this kind of stuff, right? I mean, the Oilers, above all else, are probably pissed off that this news got out about Bruce Cassidy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You got to imagine they are really upset about this. I know that there's been some people that have suggested, maybe the Oilers were just trying to have a conversation and just trying to see what's out there. I don't believe that. I think that they were probably planning to let go of Kris Knoblauch the whole time. And it just was a matter of semantics and how it kind of all came to be, right? Maybe in an ideal world for the organization, they were able to lock up Cassidy in time. If, he's the only name that we've heard. So we have to assume he's the number one guy on their list, right? As of today, I don't think there's been a report that the permission's been granted yet, so we still don't know where that stands. But I think above all else, it was a pretty interesting press conference today with Stan Bowman. There was some really, really interesting stuff in there. I think to a certain extent, Knoblauch is a little bit of a scapegoat in this entire situation here. But in the same breath, I do think that there were some things that happened this year that just cannot happen. Namely, the Oilers playing absolute shit all season long.
82 games of basically the whole 82 was losing more than you won, if you count overtime losses as what they are, which are losses. The Oilers were a below average team all season. So
they were.
I agree with that. The people acting like this is just the Oilers doing their classic trigger finger blame the coach. They're not just blaming the coach here. Leon Draisaitl came out and said everyone took a step back. Management, coaching, players. I don't think this is a scapegoat scenario with the Knoblauch, because to your point, there are legitimate gripes and reasons to look at what he did over the last year and go, I don't know if this guy's the right coach for the Oilers. He might be a good coach, but I just don't think he's the right coach for the Oilers anymore.
Well, in the words of Stan Bowman, Kris Knoblauch and Mark Stuart are, quote, excellent coaches who will have, quote, long careers in hockey.
Mark Stuart won't.
I don't think so either. But I think it comes back to the other thing too about, at the end of the day, this team was not ready for the playoffs, right? They wanted to wait and try and flip the switch, and as soon as game one hit, and then they got punched in the mouth by a young, hungry Anaheim Ducks team. Yeah. The injuries didn't help for certain, but I do think that there was a real lack of preparedness that this Oilers team had night in and night out this year.
I do want to pick your brain a little bit more on everything that Bowman had to say today. You and Menzies both covered it in depth over on the site Oilersnation.com for anybody who wants to go read. But there was one thing that popped up, and I don't want to forget it, Liam, which is why I'm jumping in with it.
All right.
Someone commented they did fire Ralph Kruger over Skype, so this whole Knoblauch thing seems pretty mild. Isn't it funny how far society's come in the last year,
Skype.
12 years? That 12 years ago, firing someone over a video call was seen as like the greatest sin ever, and now it's like, I mean, I'm sure they did do it in person with Knoblauch, but like people get fired over Zoom all the time, man. It's 2026.
Yeah. Well, Stauffer, I guess, was on Spittin' Chicklets today.
Yeah.
And I saw there was one clip, the only clip that I've seen thus far of it, where they kind of asked Bob, like, well, Bob, like, why did they wait to do it and this sort of a thing? Well, they wanted to do it in person, and it was Mother's Day weekend, so everybody couldn't get back to the city of Edmonton until Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, come on, Like, I mean, when you look back at it, it's 2 weeks ago today that the Oilers were bounced. Sorry, everybody. They said, in the Saturday press conference, the exit interviews, they were going to, do their organizational overview, the Red Wine Summit, whatever the hell you want to call it, and kind of make a decision from there. They probably knew going into Mother's Day weekend, if they were all leaving the city of Edmonton, that this was probably going to be happening. And that's probably why we saw the news come out on Monday the way that it did here, right? So, listen, at the end of the day, it's a weird spot. It's a weird series of events that kind of occurred here. But, now the Oilers are going to embark on a wide search for their next head coach, and I guess we'll see what happens. At least we have some more like actual things to talk about here, ahead of free agency and stuff. Like, so that's kind of nice.
Is there any other names you think should be candidates for this? Like, because Bob had that, so he'd be like Stanley Cup winner, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys out there. I mean, on Monday, I threw a couple of names out on the site. I don't think the Oilers are going to want to go with an inexperienced coach.
I don't think so either. I think that's a long shot.
I think it's a real long shot. David Carlisle.
David Carl. He's not leaving Denver. He makes millions of dollars, and he's the most, as Colby said today on Morning Cuppa, people who are self-employed aren't as secure in their jobs as David Carl. Like, he could work there till he's 90.
Exactly. Like, I think he would probably be like the top non or no experience coach out there. Mark Letestu has been getting a little bit of buzz. He's coaching the Colorado Eagles in the AHL.
Yeah,
they're having a really good year.
Finals.
Maybe he's an assistant or something like that they could bring in or something like that. But in terms of the actual head coach job, so we're looking for guys who have been around the game for a while, guys who have won. There's one other name that really jumps out to me, and it's Peter Laviolette.
Yeah, we mentioned him too.
I think he's the one other guy besides Cassidy that really ticks off those boxes that the Oilers are looking for. Obviously won the Cup in 2006. Once again, sorry, everybody. I think he would be an interesting guy. He's been out of the league for a couple of years now. Is he wanting to get back into coaching? I don't know. Number 9 overall in games coached in NHL history. One guy that I think could be really interesting, though, if he, again, wants it, Bruce Boudreau.
Really?
I think it could be an interesting guy. He doesn't have the success of winning, but he's always shown an ability to get the most out of his players everywhere he's went. I mean, think back to Vancouver a couple of years ago. Those were teams that he was coaching that were terrible. Like, they shouldn't have been as good as they were. And he really got the short end of the stick there in Vancouver. I wonder if he's a guy that they reach out to and have a conversation with and gauge interest with, because I think he's a guy who could kind of fit that mold too.
He's 71.
Yeah.
I worry about that a little bit.
Either.
But, I mean, what's the lifespan of an NHL head coach these days?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do a little bit of digging into that because I'm legitimately curious. There's been 100 NHL coaches that have coached in the last 10 years. And I want to try and figure out what the average lifespan is for these guys for non-interim head coaches.
Just over the last 10 years?
Just over the last 10 years. Because
the average, I think, is about 2.2 overall in the NHL.
So 200 odd games.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that track, and where does that fit in with the Edmonton Oilers? Because, it's the old narrative that everybody's going to say, because it's easy to say and make fun of the Edmonton Oilers. Oh, they've had 6 coaches in 10 years. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has had 27 different head coaches. It's like, okay, we get it. But, is there actually validity to that? I kind of want to do a little bit more digging.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's such a lame thing to say. Like, Yeah, they've had that many. They've also sucked.
Yeah.
Like, what are they supposed to do? Just sit on their hands and be like, well, hopefully Todd McClellan can figure it out, or Dave Tippett can. It's like, no, if you watch them and pay attention, which, of course, like, not everyone is so dialed in as, like, we are to the team, they're not playing well. And all those guys deserve to be fired. You could argue the only ones that really didn't were Ralph Kruger, who almost got them into the playoffs, and probably Todd Nelson. Like, based off, like, the actual, like, when they got fired, not the overall thing.
I think Woody got...
Sure, maybe Woody too.
Woody
That's a
falls in
fair
that
one as
category.
well. But, like,
Wyshynski and Merrick asked me about rehiring him today.
Oh, my
Jay
God.
Woodcroft.
Yeah, and I was like, no, they're not doing that.
Like,
No.
I've seen that thrown around, too. Like, I don't see a world where that happens.
Why
I see
would
a
he
world
come
where-
back?
Yeah,
Why would
exactly.
just, like, not even from the organization, like, he shouldn't pick up the phone.
No.
Like, he shouldn't. They treated him wrong. And
He got screwed by bad goaltending.
I mean, if
yeah.
Jeff Jackson was out, maybe we could have that
Yeah.
conversation,
what
right?
do you think of the Jeff Jackson era?
The seat is hot.
I can't believe it's not burning through yet.
I agree,
Really?
and I think the same for Bowman now.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
You know, like we talked about this in the office the other day. Like, you know, coach or GMs like to save that bullet in season if they can, right? And you know, I kind of had said that, like, I don't like that idea. Like, if you are thinking of changing the coach 10 games into the season, just rip the Band-Aid off now. So from that perspective, I'm glad that they did it right now instead of waiting for another situation
I
like
agree.
it was with Woodcroft the other year, right? You bring in a new coach, he's going to reevaluate all the other assistants on staff, figure out if he wants to keep anybody or if anybody else wants to go, who he wants to bring in for his guys. Then let's get an actual season, off-season training program in place for these guys. Let's get the training camp going, you know, because in the same breath too, like if we think back to when Knoblauch was hired, you know, I remember him saying, we're not going to change things around with how this team operates. You know, they weren't going to do a systematic change of the way that they play. They basically just ran the Woodcroft system.
Yeah.
That entire 2023-24 season.
Especially right away. Like, you can gradually add things, but, like, the overall structure of it you can't change that much on the fly.
Yeah, and,
know?
and that season, like, you know, it was early November, and the Oilers were on the road a lot through that November, December, January stretch, right?
Yeah.
So they really didn't have a whole lot of time to even, you know, do much coaching, you know, in practices, let alone changing systems and stuff. So I think at this point in time, now we can get a new coach that can come in and actually implement the things that he wants the way that he wants them implemented.
Mm-hmm. No, I would completely agree.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Like, again, and I think there's people who are just taking kind of pot shots at the Oilers here. Where, like, if they would have fired Kris Knoblauch the morning after they got eliminated, it would have been like, Oilers are scrambling, right? The Oilers, they didn't even do a full intern. They just quickly pointed the blame at Knoblauch and gassed him. And then they wait 2 weeks, and it's like, oh, they sat on their hands for 2 weeks? Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's very...
There's no winning.
No.
There's no winning with anything the Edmonton Oilers can do in the court of public opinion.
Yeah, and, like, even with the goaltending to an extent, when people are like, they've never done anything to address their goaltending. It's like they spent a third-round pick on Stuart Skinner, developed him, brought him up to the NHL. He led them, or was a part of, I should say, them being in 2 straight Cup finals. And then people are like, well, they never drafted and developed a proper number 1 goalie. And it's like, well, they tried shit. Like, they tried to sign Campbell. That was stupid, obviously. But, like, they tried the free agent route. They tried the homegrown route. They tried the reclamation project route that Colorado did. Like, what's the difference between the Oilers having Calvin Pickard as their third goalie and Scott Wedgwood going over for a 6th-round pick, right? Like,
Same difference, yeah.
so much of this shit is, like, random. And, like, again, they deserve criticism for a lot of stuff. But I also do think there's a lot of people externally. Like, I heard a Pierre Maguire clip today being like, the Oilers never learned how to play defense under Kris Knoblauch. And it's like, what are we fucking talking about
They played
here?
one bad season of defense.
They
And it
played, like, yeah.
sucked. It was a terrible season.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that it was a 2-1 game in Game 7.
Yes,
in
thank you.
2024.
Well, we just did it. Florida scored more than 3 goals once in that series. It went 7 games. Like, and the one time they did it was Game 3, and I think they were down. They might have been down 4-0 by the end of the first. To be honest,
Yeah.
It was awful, and that was the worst game they played. And yeah, I just think again it's similar. Like, not to rehash this, but similar to the awards stuff. You know, like they get snubbed all the time. There's this weird narrative around Edmonton. It seems like people are jealous. Like, everyone wants McDavid to leave the Edmonton Oilers at the end of whenever we want to say it. Like, everyone does. They want him to go and play somewhere else. And there's no guarantee that, like, McDavid leaves and wins.
Because where else is he going to go with another top 5 player and a top 10 defenseman?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for him to find that again. And who knows? Like, with that said, I do think the Oilers have like not done him the service that he deserves for his entire tenure. Like that 2017 season, like my goodness, like I cannot watch the Anaheim Ducks right now and not think about like, well, they went out and got John Carlson at the deadline, and the Oilers in that same year when everyone else was on an ELC got David Desharnais, who scored an overtime winner that year.
Big goal.
He was fine player, like he
thing,
did fine, but like that should be like okay, that was our third move. It's like the year who else did they get the Troy Stetcher year? Ekholm.
Bukestad.
Was it just that?
I think it was Jugs, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I always just think they made a third move because I always say like they should do the Troy Stetcher thing again.
Yeah.
Either way, it's like you get two guys and then you go and add the David Desharnais Stetcher. It's like, no, the others just got David Desharnais.
Yeah.
And even the year with Kruger, and I know this is going way back, but like they just got Jared Smithson. So why? Why did you just do that?
There's plenty of instances where they misstepped. I agree with you 100%. Where do you come out on the whole Bowman thing?
Well, you wrote an article the other day saying he should be fired.
I stand by that article. Yeah. I do. My preference would have been a full clean house here.
Do you worry about what a new GM would be able to accomplish in like a short time span of one summer? Because again, you have one summer to save this McDavid era.
Well, that's what they said 2 years ago when Bowman got hired.
Yeah.
It was a similar kind of narrative, right? Of, well, they don't have much time. They got to get Draisaitl signed. They got to figure out McDavid. You know, the big issue for me is like the Oilers feel like they've been stuck in this perpetual cycle for the last, 3 or 4 GM coaches of, there's a head coach in place, the head coach gets fired, the GM stays in place, he hires his guy, then the GM gets fired, then it's a season with the new GM, and then he fires the old coach and hires a new coach, and then the old GM gets fired after a year, and it feels like they've been stuck in this perpetual cycle of, dysfunction. Really? Yeah. How in lockstep can you be when you are constantly rotating through these guys that might have differing opinions of how, they view things? Because I do think that was a point of contention between, the coaching staff, Knoblauch and Bowman in the front office. 2 years ago, Jeff Skinner, Victor Arvidsson, this year, Frederick, Andrew Mangiapane, there just seems to be some real disconnect here. And for that reason, I wonder if they made a mistake in not letting go of Bowman here as well. And further to the Jeff Jackson thing, I mean, his fingerprints are all over this at this point.
It's insane.
You brought up when they hired Knoblauch, and at the press conference, Holland's basically sitting there not saying anything because he's like, I didn't do this.
Yeah, this isn't my decision. Sat there like a wet dog, being like, well, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I got too much mud on me here, and I didn't do shit.
It's like almost like you got two different guys in the exact same position with two different outlooks, and then a coach who maybe agrees with some of what one guy says, some of what another guy says, but not all of either of them.
Yeah.
That's an issue. Like, that to me is a real significant issue in where the Oilers have kind of faltered in the last couple of years here.
I just can't. Yeah.
What's we'll let you go after this. What's number one on your list for what they got to accomplish this summer?
Well, they got to hire a coach.
What's number 2 on your list?
Can I ask you, just on that, when do you think the coach needs to be hired by?
Middle of July. Middle of June.
Yeah, okay.
Middle of June at the very latest. A month.
I think we have a new coach by the end of next week.
You very well might be the
Maybe.
case.
I just think all the Bruce Cassidy stuff is just too pertinent.
I agree. But I think, at the worst case scenario, at least 2 weeks before the draft.
Yeah, and I agree. I think he needs to be in before the draft and before free agency because shit's happening. And we've done this before where, hey, we went to Game 7 of the Cup final. Okay, Holland's not coming back. I'll do it, says Jeff Jackson. And then the summer of Jeff continues on from there. And then Bowman comes in and is like, oh, by the way, St. Louis just offered your 2 best young players. Yeah. Good luck. Go. This is not my fault. This is your fault. And that cannot happen again.
I also, again, we've heard a lot of shit about, like, what are the mandates from up top? Ownership / Paul Coffey. What do they say? Blah, blah, blah. I would love to inject some people with some truth serum around those offer sheets because Bowman did get thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he was a little bit of like, did Stan Bowman himself say, we are not matching either of these? Or did he say, what do you guys think of these guys? Like, I just got here.
Yeah, what do you
What do you want me to do? No,
Yeah.
we're not matching. Okay, I got to go out then and fix this. And trade for Puck Olsen, trade for Emberson, make the money work, all that stuff. Again, Bowman, yeah, he's blood on his hands for a lot of shit.
100%.
Freddie and Wallman, yes, very disappointing. The Jarry trade, brutal, inexcusable. And you're right. These are probably fireable offenses for a lot of organizations. But
There is one more thing that I wanted to touch on here.
okay.
Please.
And I have this thought after watching the press conference today. Okay, so first of all, going back to the exit press conferences, Stan Bowman said, and I paraphrase, we're not going to be making a lot of roster changes.
Yeah. Did he say it again today?
He said it again today. Okay. I have the opinion, after listening to him say it twice now, that we are probably going to see a very similar roster that we saw this year. And the big move this summer is the coaching change. I think they're going to try and run it back with a very similar roster to what they had this year. Dickinson, Murphy, Kapanen coming back, potentially Connor Ingram. They don't have a lot of cap space beyond that.
No, was it
to do
almost
stuff.
almost 17? I think.
About
right?
Yeah.
if you take care of all those guys that are around market value, you probably have about $4 million to wiggle with.
That's not a lot,
Nope.
right? You can get a guy or two in at those price points, but it would not surprise me in the least if we are sitting here, game one of the regular season, and the Oilers lineup looks very similar to what it was this year. And one thing Bowman noted too was that, the new coach is going to have to evaluate the roster, figure out what he feels can work within his system, and then the Oilers, and Bowman said, they'll try and accent it with the other guys they feel can run their system that they could potentially try and acquire.
You would know this better than I. I have two thoughts. First thought, the roster wasn't that bad this season.
No.
Wasn't that bad. It underperformed significantly. Injuries got in the way in the playoffs. Yada, yada, yada. So if they brought everyone back, it wouldn't be the complete end of the world, but it would be for everyone outside of Edmonton, I think. At the end of the day, when they acquired Jason Dickinson, people, oh my God, a first-round pick, and then everyone throws out the numbers. It was like, oh, he's one of the best third-line centers in the NHL. As much as, I'm not the biggest fan of Dan on this, and obviously he's overpaid, he played well with Connor Murphy. That pairing was solid. If your sixth defenseman return next season, you're just hoping Wallman can find his form from the playoffs for more than 6 games. Mm-hmm. When the Oilers acquired Tristan Jarry, wasn't Bowman talking about they weren't going to make any decisions, and all of a sudden they made a big decision? You know what I mean? I just wonder if he's just similar to Kris. Are they all just liars? We need a new liar around here.
There might be something to that too. I do remember there being some talk about them kind of sitting with sitting on their hands with the goalie stuff. And I can't remember who it was that reported it, but I think there was talk in early December and the week before, because early December was when the Tampa game happened with Pickard, right? Or late November.
Yeah.
Or late November.
Late November, and they were going to put Pickard on waivers, but then he won a game or didn't lose a game against Tampa Bay. And then everybody was like, oh, no, everything's going to stay the same. And I think there was some reports at the time that the Oilers were going to sit tight until the Olympic break.
Okay. Maybe it wasn't the goalie one. Maybe it was a different move that happened. That I think it was Connor Murphy. Now that I'm remembering, didn't he have a press conference and then leave, and then they made the Connor Murphy trade?
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's right. Right. It was I'm done, and then they made 2 hours later, Connor Murphy was an Oiler
Or whatever it was.
Whoever
Right,
it was something like that. So we'll see. I mean, I just don't know how they're going to make big trades. You've gone through a ton, Tyler, of okay, yeah, they can trade Nurse and Jarry. And as much as again, we would like those guys gone for money value, you have to trade so many assets for them. How are you going to do that?
Unless, again, to what DJ Bean said, if you keep 50% of Darnell Nurse, is he a positive asset? That might be the case. The GM out there might sit there and look at the free agent crop and be like, hold up, you're going to give me Darnell Nurse for $4.57 million?
Yeah.
$4.6 million?
I don't even think you'd need to retain 50% for somebody to think that.
You get down
DJ's
to
logic,
7
though,
even.
was could you get an actual good prospect or asset if you do that?
Potentially.
If you go to Detroit and you say 50%, are you getting Kosa for him? Or something like that, right? Or even Jarry. If you keep 50% of Jarry and, from another deal, you keep 50% of Nurse, you get a second-round pick, then use that second-round pick, attach it to Jarry, and it's did you, find a way to kill 2 birds here by keeping a ton of money? I do think the only way the roster is different is if they go way out of the box and get super creative, and that would be kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I think so too.
All right. Anything else coming up today on OilersNation.com that we should let people know about?
Tons of stuff. We've had an article go up live on the site every hour since 7 o'clock this morning, and that's probably going to be the case through the afternoon. So there's lots to read right now. Certainly a lot going on here.
We are running into a significant issue on the website, though, Zach. You were mentioning it before. We are simply running out of Kris Knoblauch images.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any, you can contact us at knoblauchimages@oilersnation.com.
Yeah, we're running low on them here.
We don't have enough pictures.
Even the Bowman ones, to be honest.
I
with
know.
you.
Go to the top, Aaron. If like the one that
Like,
I
it's a
use the
jump
same
scare.
photos for everything.
it's so fun.
What are we gonna do? Like,
Yeah,
what-
I
like,
mean, and then Peter Shirelli shows up
The
in the
Shirelli
bottom.
jump scare or something. Yeah.
that was I went into the weeds for that one.
All right,
God,
Zach.
this-
Thank you for popping on.
Thanks for having me.
See you
Farewell.
again probably next week. There you go. Zach Laing, OilersNation.com. Put a link to Menzies' latest stuff in the YouTube chat if people want to go give that a read. Zach, not only brought to you by Prairie Toyota, but brought to you by our friends at Oodle Noodle. Take advantage of the value menu deal. Add 2 green onion cakes, 5 spring rolls, or 6 wontons to your order for just $2. Any signature premium box, oodlenoodle.ca, or download the Oodle Noodle app. Liam,
Yes.
should we do Liam's board?
Sure. I went for a positive approach on today's.
Okay.
This isn't fun and games anymore. This is reminiscing on some good times.
Oh, interesting. I'm changing up who Liam's board's brought to you by today.
Oh, well, did the last sponsor drop out?
No, we just got other reads we got to get in this week. Brought to you by Bright Dental. Liam's board always makes me smile. Bright Dental is a family dental office located in St. Albert, open Monday to Friday, 8 to 8. That means you can get in after work. Bright Dental is a Blue Diamond Invisalign provider. Schedule your free dental scan today. I used Invisalign. It worked great. Bright Dental offers a full range of dental services, including same-day crowns. Give them a call, or for more information, go to brightdental.ca.
Oh, Kris Knoblauch. What's the other guy's name? Stan Bowman.
Yeah.
Did say pretty quickly that Evan Bouchard did not have a concussion in the playoffs, which can go both ways. One, it's not true. The second one being they don't want to get in trouble by the NHL for playing someone with a concussion. Believe what you want. Conspiracy theories are true. All right.
So Liam's board today.
Liam's board today. All right, let me just get the order here.
All right.
I went with, and please let us know in the chat too. I think this is a good little one to play along with. And these aren't ranked, but just some of my favorite moments from the Kris Knoblauch era.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I thought this would be fun to go down. I mean, again, these are all personal ones, but I thought it'd be fun to take a trip down memory lane because as much as I've dogged Kris Knoblauch most of this season and these past couple of weeks, we still went to 2 cup finals. A lot of great memories with Kris Knoblauch. Awesome coach.
Okay.
For a time. So number 1 on Liam's board, again, in no particular order. This one, maybe some people won't remember it, but oh no. Oh, it's okay.
Stapler was almost out of staples.
Woo-wee. That was close. When Evan Bouchard set the new record for most wins in a row. So this is his overtime winner against the Montreal Canadiens at is it called the Bell Center, right?
Yeah, Centre Bell.
They won 2-1 in overtime. I was at my friend's having a poker night. And I thought this moment was just really cool. And there was a graphic that came up on the TV. And yeah, Evan Bouchard.
16 wins in a row.
Yeah, Evan Bouchard's an absolute dog. There was also Adam Ernie there. You guys probably won't remember him. He was the oil field worker they had for a few weeks.
Hey, that guy was playing fucking playoff games this year.
Who's he play for?
Dallas. He was in the playoffs for
Well,
Dallas.
they made it as far as the others did. So.
All right. Memory number 2.
Memory number 2. This one, again, I should have probably changed the order a little bit, but I didn't.
Rye Spot. I'm new here. What's this segment? It's whatever you want it to be, boss.
It's just 5 things I wanted to discuss.
I was asked that question yesterday by someone. I was like, honestly.
Who asked you?
I'll tell you later.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. What's going on there? Not a lot of good stuff.
What are you guys doing there?
Evan Bouchard's goal against the Vancouver Canucks is this game 4? Game 3?
Top 5 Bouch memories or Knoblauch?
I know. I should have changed these orders.
Yeah.
Bouch is just on all of them because he's one of the most clutch players in the NHL and arguably the most disrespected. This was the most, not for Bouch specifically, but 0 to hero moment that I can remember these past few years.
Because they were losing late and scored too late.
No, they were winning 2-0 with Calvin Pickett in goal. and then Vancouver came back and scored too
Is
late.
this game 4?
I think this was game 4. Yes, because it was just
Game 3.
Game 5.
I think it was game 3 then.
Because they lost games. Well, no, they were down 3-2.
No, whatever.
Whatever it was. It was game 4 because it was at home. And then Bouchard just scored an absolute rocket. What I remember a lot about this, and he just missed it there, Evander Kane, huge forecheck. Great hit on Hronik. And then Bouchard just being Bouchard. God, what a team.
Holloway.
Shit, I do not want to see Holloway right now. So, yeah, that was one of my favorites, is that one. Moving on. And I know this is one of your favorites, Tyler, and I put this one on here for you. And for myself. And for everybody else, if I can get this stable to work. Leon Draisaitl's Game 1 overtime winner against Florida in the Cup final. You said this would be a statue, and there's still time for that to happen. But this was a moment of joy, and I will never forget this.
I just remember looking up at Rogers Place when he scored that goal. I was there with my dad, and I was just so convinced. I was like, they are winning the Stanley Cup.
I know, I was
too. They're not losing the Stanley Cup.
Do you know the crazy part about this series is also the slow-mo video someone got out of this is so cool. It's
this play by Perry's so sick, too.
Yeah.
Like,
there was more moments in this series where I believe the Oilers were going to win the Stanley Cup than there was the one before. And they honestly felt like they weren't even that close. They were never really that close when you go back and actually think about it as a whole. So anyway, not to make everyone a Debbie Downer, but
this was supposed to be positive.
it fucking sucks.
All right.
All right.
No, let's do this one first.
All right.
As we continue on down memory lane.
I don't blame any of you for leaving the YouTube chat. This is so depressing to go through.
When Zach Hyman scored against Florida in Game 6, this goal made it 3-0.
Yeah.
And he scored on a breakaway. The Oilers won that game like 8-1 or something like that, right?
No.
Was this
Game 6 was closer. It was like 5-2 or something.
Okay. But this
Yeah.
felt like a really cool moment. And as Oilers fans, you could argue the last time we were happy.
Oh, the Leon moment.
Yeah, that was cool. But, like, you know, a bit of belief. That was cool.
Yeah, them winning that Game 6 was, the
Was
closest
awesome.
they've got to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, and, like, Bobrovsky's down here.
Yeah.
And Zach Hyman nailed him. God
I
damn
like
it.
that Aaron has all these ready to go.
Yeah.
Block shot
Just
back
like,
the
I
other
can't
way.
remember that was.
That
But
speed. Fuck.
Zach Hyman scored 70 goals this season. That season. Like, that is... I was in media row for this, and I've never been so upset being so far away from the action while still in the building. And this... Oh, there you go. 70th goal of the season. Crazy. So there you go. That's that one. Last one. When this one came across, I thought of the NHL video games many moments when I saw this one, but this is when the Oilers won the Western Conference in game in game 6, 2024. Mm-hmm. I remember them panning across everybody's face and thinking to myself, every single player on this team will be remembered forever in this city as like a legend. Mm-hmm. And right now, I don't think we're there with a lot of guys. But like in a few years, when we all grow up, we'll look back on that season and be like, that's our 06, of course. And I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about this and watching it right now. I just, as a fan who has never seen his team, any of them, win anything, I was just shocked. Like, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, that the Oilers were going to the Stanley Cup final.
Seeing Nuge wear the hat.
Yeah,
like
and
a tear to my eye.
it never felt real. And God, what a special group of guys. And it's a shame now because, like, a lot of them are gone and they got to figure it out. But man, being at Rogers Place, that playoff run, something I'll never forget. And all of this is thanks to Kris Knoblauch. So I think we should end the show. I know we probably got to wrap pretty quick here, but like, Kris Knoblauch brought a lot of good memories.
Tyler.
Knoblauch brought a lot of good memories to this team, and like that 2024 team was special, man. And it's a shame it ended the way it did, because I really, really thought Kris Knoblauch was going to be the coach that brought the Stanley Cup to Edmonton. It obviously didn't end up happening, but he should be remembered positively at some point. And I'm sorry to make everybody so upset.
I went back and watched 2024 highlights the other day, and like just watching the way that team played was so fucking fun. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's when I loved Matthias Yaremchuk. I was so
That
in on
goal
Yaremchuk.
against Dallas and the comeback win was insane in the third period. Like
Man.
and like this is a part of it. Everything went their way.
Everyone was good.
Every fucking bounce, like it was insane up until the cup final, basically. Well, that sucks. Okay, we got to wrap because we got a big meeting that we have to get to. Thank you, everybody. Ooh, NHL follower tracker with a banger. Kirill Kaprizov just followed Brecky Hill.
Next week's board.
Banger!
Who among us?
Yeah. Okay, everybody, this was honestly a fine show. I appreciate you all in the YouTube chat. Over 1,000 of you still kicking around to the end of this bad boy. Leave a like if you don't mind. We'll be back tomorrow. Obviously, we got a couple special guests joining us on tomorrow's show. And,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We should just say who that is.
Sonny.
Yeah. Please go vote for Sonny to win the Willie O'Ree Award.
Yeah.
Another
local Edmonton guy. He does a ton of great work in the city. We're going to bring him on tomorrow and hear more about it. But yeah, Sonny Seakin is he does a ton of great stuff. Again, we don't have time to get into it right now, but he is one of the 3 Canadian finalists, so we're going to be pushing for him to get the votes needed to win this thing. Of course, we had Arjun on last year as well. So yeah, giddy up. Shout out to Sonny. Okay, that's a wrap, everybody. Enjoy your Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday edition of the program. Oil up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.